So week 2 in the Premier League is upon us and it's already hotting up. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to On Me Edson. I hope you're all well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So week 2 of the English Premier League is upon us. Now, before I get into this and looking ahead to some cracking fixtures already, it would be remiss of me to ignore all the other leagues around the world, but certainly here in the UK. There's some cracking competitions going on already, not only in the English divisions, but also in Scotland as well. I've been catching up with some games recently. So some cracking fixtures and some interesting results already. But the Championship here in the UK, in England I should say, is already had some great fixtures as well. And in League One as well. I've been keeping an eye out on some of those fixtures and some of those results. My hometown where I live, Reading, they're in League One and they've had a couple of decent results here and there. And some Wrexham, who've come up from League 2 obviously into League 1, they've had a couple of shows as well. So it's been interesting to see how these teams are showing themselves, how they're performing in early doors. Mansfield have come up and they've had a couple of decent results as well. So, don't just because we're looking at the English Premier League, don't forget there's some lots of great competitions, lots of great matches going on in the lower leagues. And in fact, in many ways, I kind of prefer the lower league football because it's kind of really honest football. Yeah, I'm really into Premier League games and I support West Ham, of course, so we're in the Premier League, so that's where I'm at. But also every now and again I go and catch a Reading game and I've always really liked to watch it. Yeah, from a neutral's point of view, but it is my hometown as well. But it's good to not have to deal with VAR and just some honest tackles going in, that kind of thing. So if you only ever watch the English Premier League, all I would say is try and watch some of the games as well from the lower divisions, because I'll tell you what, there's some cracking games. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on to the English Premier League that has started last weekend. I've already made a video about that, but I'm really looking forward now to the next game and some very interesting games ahead, and possibly the most interesting of the lot is Brighton at home to Manchester United. Now, Manchester United, as we know, were 1-0 winners, an unconvincing 1-0 win, I would say, against Fulham in their opening fixture. But they go away to Brighton, who last time out, away at Everton, beat them 3-0. And I don't know what it is about Brighton, but fans, neutral fans and, neutral owners, let's say, will kind of be always looking at Brighton in the last few years, especially, to say, how are they doing it? Such a well-run club. They buy really well. They sell really well. They play attractive football. One manager goes, another one comes in, and it's still the same thing. The backroom staff, the structure at Brighton, whatever they're doing, whatever magic ingredient they've got, every other fan in the land, we all want it. We all want it for our own club as well. Yes, and maybe we've got a great structure at our own clubs, and we don't want to say we've got a crap structure. But if you look at Brighton, they always seem to be doing a fantastic job. And maybe we've been doing Brighton a bit of disservice over the last few years when we're kind of saying, yeah, they're overachieving, or they're doing a lot better than we would expect, or, they're getting results where they shouldn't. Well, actually, maybe we should be really respecting Brighton as an outfit, as a club, as a powerhouse, really, to say, no, you're going to Brighton. That's a tough game. That's a tough game. And for this game, Manchester United against Brighton, I would not be surprised if this is a Brighton home win, and quite a convincing win, especially the way Manchester United have kind of stumbled into the season, whereas Brighton have gone all guns blazing. And that Matoma is a cracking player for the last few years, and will they hold on to Matoma? That's the thing for Brighton. Will they hold on to him? Certainly at the end of this transfer window, you would imagine they will, but come January, will somebody big come in for him? Yet to be seen, of course, but that's probably the fixture of week 2 for me. Brighton at home to Manchester United. I'm going for a home win there for Brighton, but make no mistake, they are a force to be reckoned with, and a fantastically run club that many a neutral fan will agree, whoever you support. Now, possibly the dreaded fixture in week 2 would be Crystal Palace against West Ham. Both had losses in week 1. Still finding their feet under new management as well. Still kind of trying to find where they are in terms of playing styles, and have they got players still yet to go out the door or players still to come in as well. So this is going to be quite an interesting matchup. Don't expect fireworks, don't expect great play from either side, but I think this is going to be a tough game for both clubs. Hopefully, from my point of view, West Ham will come away with a win. We haven't had a lot of success at Crystal Palace in recent years as well, so it could be a tough day at the office for West Ham United. If that's 2 losses on the bounce for Lopetegui, West Ham manager, you would imagine he's going to come under a bit of increasing pressure there as well. But look, time will tell. Only 2 games into the season, okay? So it's not all doom and gloom just yet. However, we've got to talk about momentum. We've got to talk about racking up results, getting points on the board. 2 games in, you can already see a gap developing between some of the, the leaders of the pack and the also-rans. And West Ham could easily be that team, as well as Crystal Palace, of course. Going on form, I would say that a draw would probably suit both clubs. That's where I'm at. Okay, the next fixture to look out for was Fulham at home to Leicester City. Leicester City, who drew 1-1 against Tottenham on Monday night. And yeah, that man, their talisman, their legend, that is Jamie Vardy, 37 years old, still knocking them in. And he scored on Monday night, but they've got a bit of a striker problem. Jamie Vardy can't do it all, especially at his age. They need to bring in somebody drastically, desperately to play alongside him, or he can feed off, and somebody who's going to do the running for him, and he can get a few tap-ins, let's say. How many goals can they get out of Jamie Vardy this season? I mean, who knows? I mean, if he gets into double figures, that'll be a great return for a striker of his age, of course. If he does even better than that, 15, 20 goals, well, it'll be an absolute hero. But they need somebody else. Now, by contrast, Fulham, yes, they lost against Manchester United, but I did say in the last video, watch out for Fulham, because they've had some decent buys this season. They've got a couple of players that have come in, quality players as well. Watch out for them. I'm going for a home win here for Fulham, and that's mainly because I think Fulham are a decent team. Yes, they lost against Manchester United, but they could have scored themselves, and also that Leicester haven't really got a striker as well, and they might be relying too much on Jamie Vardy. This could be famous last words here for me, but I'm going for a Fulham home win there. Okay, next fixture. I'm going to brush over this one, and I kind of feel really sorry for Ipswich Town because they're away to Manchester City. 2 opening fixtures. The first one against Liverpool was a loss 2-0. Now away to Manchester City. You've got to favour Manchester City on this, but don't be downbeat if you're an Ipswich fan or anybody else looking at Ipswich saying, oh, 2 losses. It's still very early days, but it's almost like they've got to have an acceptance to say, if we lose these 2 games, then yes, we'll be 6 points down on the leaders. Yes, we'll have no points on the board. But as I said in a previous video, it's all about capitalising when you play the other teams and gaining points where you can. So it's a marathon here. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Let's just see how they can do. But you would imagine, just for to gather the hearts and minds of the Ipswich fan base, you want to start getting points on the board. Now, if they can get something away at Manchester City, fantastic, of course. But even if they lose by a big margin, then all is not lost. Just bear that in mind. Okay, the next fixture, which I'll put in the same vein as Fulham against Leicester, is Nottingham Forest against Southampton. Southampton lost their opening fixture, and Nottingham Forest drew their opening fixture as well. So it's kind of even Stevens there, really. You would kind of favour Nottingham Forest slightly to edge this, but don't underestimate Southampton. It's too early to tell for both these teams, I would say, but let's say a draw. We'll give them a draw and see how we go, but this could go either way as well. Tottenham Hotspur against Everton. Again, Everton, poor showing out last time against Brighton, lost 3-0 at home. Their fans are going to want to see some kind of response from them, some kind of offensive play, playing on the front foot and closing down Tottenham and not letting them play as well. Can they produce that kind of football? Tottenham, by contrast, they would kind of think that they lost 2 points in their last outing against Leicester City on Monday. We drew 1-1, of course. They've also bought well in the transfer window, and the manager is buoyant as well for the season ahead. Let's see how they do, but this is going to be an interesting matchup. But I've got to say, I'm going for a Tottenham home win on this one. I'm not convinced that Everton are at the races just yet. Let us know your thoughts on that one. And finally, for the last of the Saturday fixtures, it's an early evening kickoff at 5:30. Aston Villa at home to Arsenal. If there was ever a game to watch, this is the one. Aston Villa played West Ham United last time out. Whilst it weren't overly impressive, they still came away with a win, and deservedly so. Arsenal in the opening fixture had a 2-0 win, so it's a great matchup. Both finished in the top 4 last season. Arsenal second, Aston Villa fourth, of course. Both deserve to be there. Both have got great squads, and they come into this season with a great squad and also reinforced really well in the transfer window. This could be a cracking game, but I'm going to go for an Arsenal away win. This is where I'm at with it. I just think that Arsenal have a little bit too much for Aston Villa, but I could be proven completely wrong here, and Aston Villa could come away with the spoils. But let us know your thoughts on this. But this would be a great match to watch. Certainly one to watch. If you're going to watch a game this weekend, I would say this is the one to watch. Now on to the Sunday fixtures. Bournemouth at home to Newcastle. Bournemouth with a 1-1 draw last time out. Newcastle with a 1-0 win, of course. And this is going to be one of those games where you think, well, who's going to really come out on top? Bournemouth haven't really looked that inspiring. However, they've lost Solanke. They brought in a couple of players. Newcastle are still kind of finding their identity in this campaign. But they started with a win, so they got 3 points on the board. Bournemouth have got a point on the board. I'm going to go for another draw in this game. I don't think Newcastle have enough to overcome Bournemouth, but again, let us know your thoughts on this one. But this is one of those games where you think, well, it could go either way. And another game on Sunday is Wolverhampton Wanderers against Chelsea. Wolves at home. Both lost their opening games. Wolves to Arsenal, Chelsea to Man City. Chelsea kind of lacklustre performance there. Didn't really produce a lot that would really hurt Manchester City. And you could levy the same kind of criticism or the same kind of observation at Wolverhampton Wanderers. I've got a feeling, Chelsea will come good in this game, and I'm going to go for an away win. But don't be surprised if they completely capitulate, they completely crash and burn, and Wolverhampton Wanderers come out on top. Go the Wolves if you're a Wolves fan. Go the Chelsea if you're a Chelsea fan. I really can't call this one, but I've got to say, I'm kind of feeling that it could be Chelsea's day. But that's more to do with Wolves not really being quite at the races right yet. And Chelsea stuttered, but they might be finding their feet. But they've got such a huge squad to play with. It's a tough ask for Maresca, in my opinion. They don't seem to have a lot of harmony in that squad, especially with what's been happening with Raheem Sterling as well. I know there's been some clarification on that as well this week, but let us know your thoughts on that one. But Wolves against Chelsea, I'm going to go with the away win, or it could even be a draw. Sitting on the fence on this one. And finally, the 4:30 kickoff on Sunday, Liverpool at home to Brentford. Both came away with a win on the opening fixture. But again, I would favour Liverpool in this. Arne Slot's second official game in charge of Premier League season. Going up against another impressive Brentford. They do tend to start their seasons quite well and then peter off. So they will be looking to either get a point or certainly get a win. That would be absolutely fantastic for them, of course, to build on that momentum. But Liverpool just need to consolidate, and they just need to keep that pressure on. They know, even now at the start of the season, they're chasing Arsenal and Manchester City. They're the two teams that they need to keep on the coattails of, and so they need to build on it straight away. So I'm going to go for a Liverpool win. I'm going to go for quite a convincing win, but don't underestimate Brentford, because I think certainly up until Christmas I'll be looking for them to get some decent results and possibly some surprising wins as well. But I'm going to go for a home win for Liverpool here. So already in week 2, it's all to play with. And this is where we're going to start seeing teams pull away, get a few points on the board, but there's space between them and other teams as well. And this is where the psychology starts to play in on teams and players and managers and coaches and stuff, and also in fans. We're all the same as well. You all start to think, wow, we're doing really well. 2 games in, 6 points on the board. Fantastic. We got the momentum. We're playing well. Everything's looking rosy. But it could easily fall apart in 2 or 3 games' time, of course. But if you're 6 points down, you've got no points on the board at all, 2 losses, and maybe heavy losses as well, that's when everybody's kind of looking around and wondering what the hell's going on, and if you're ever going to get out of this. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But some cracking games already in week 2. of the English Premier League. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now.